Go get her. She goes there, she wants something, she gets it. And today she has given the support, and that's why we're here today. And I believe before you leave this country, you understand why she's the Minister of Tourism. I now welcome the Minister of Tourism, Madam Menamutu Pratt, to make a statement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Una Fisher.
Share.
Cabo.
Cabo.
Una thank you for coming.
Take back.
Una thank you for coming.
Thank
Una like salon.
Yes.
Una like salon.
Yes.
If you like salon, wave say I like salon.
I like salon. I love salon.
You want be in a salon. You want be part of salon.
Yes. Yes.
You are welcome. We welcome you. We are happy. We say we gladdy.
We gladdy.
We gladdy.
We gladdy.
We gladdy for this salon posse.
We gladdy for below posse.
For this salon posse.
For salon posse.
Now all protocols observed. Let me take this opportunity of first of all apologizing for coming late. The reason being that we had a little bit of clash on the program. We absolutely forgot that today was a slated date for His Excellency to commission the second Juba Bridge. And of course, he was so excited to meet with you that he said, oh, 10 o'clock. And officially we are reaching to that 10 o'clock today. But then later on, we knew, that these plans had been completed. So, but notwithstanding, on behalf of His Excellency, we want to welcome you to Sierra Leone. We welcome you as Sierra Leoneans. He knows about you. And he's so excited that he gave his blessing for all of you to own a Sierra Leonean passport. And one of the things he actually wanted to do today was for him to officially hand the passport to you and proclaim your citizenship as a Sierra Leonean. So we have passports for you. We're going to see how that is going to go. If he's going to have the time, maybe by the time when you come back. If not, we will officially, at some point, hand over your passport. So we know you're Sierra Leoneans. Now, homecoming events take place around the world. We've heard about homecoming in Ghana, in Nigeria, in many different places. Sierra Leone has been a country that has always been celebrating our homecoming compatriots. Historically, we have been able to embrace quite a number of African Americans that have traced their roots to Sierra Leone. And so, if I could recall, this will be maybe one of the first in the past maybe 5 or 10 years. But I know decades ago, we used to have quite a lot of people. Sierra Leone is very strategic historically. Now you are sitting here, I'm sure they must have taken you to the cotton tree.
Yes.
You must have seen this cotton tree,
Yes.
which is the historic symbol of Sierra Leone's history and Sierra Leone's past, as far as African American history is concerned. Because that cotton tree was where Sierra Leoneans were sold as slaves. So it's very key for you to know that. Now, we also have another historic site, which is the Bones Island. I'm sure maybe if you have time, you may visit the Bones Island.
Yes.
Wherein you can see the monuments and remnants of the forts, the slave forts that were there. And actually like the dungeon through which Sierra Leoneans went through so that they can be taken to the New World. We all know about this kind of history. So Sierra Leone has been part of the slave history of Africa, but more particularly of West Africa. And through that slavery, a lot of our people were taken to the New World or to Americas. Wherein, eventually, a number of them, some came back, some never came back, and then developed their lives as African Americans. But that route must not be seen to be caught between those who are in the United States and those who are in many parts of Africa, but especially Sierra Leone. So that is why your coming for us is really seen as a significant event in terms of promoting and strengthening the blood relationship between Sierra Leone and you people that are represented here. Now, when we look at homecoming, there are many advantages to homecoming. The first would be you know your roots. Nobody tells you, nobody insults you that you don't know where you come from. You know where you come from. You know a country which you can point to. Secondly, you are able to redefine your identity. Who you are, what you stand for, what is your culture. In terms of food, so identity redefinition is obvious. You define your identity and your looks. Look, just looking at you, if you go to Botown, I am sure people will start greeting you without knowing that you are coming from the US because you look like us. So identity is very, very important. The third point about the rooting is the fact that we need to share the mutual knowledge. We need to share the mutual interest. We need to see how we can be able to work together in trade, in businesses, in tourism, in agriculture, in fisheries, in marine. I mean, these are some of the things that are really important. But what that brings for us as Sierra Leoneans is that it gives us a sense of comfort. That indeed, we are not only Sierra Leoneans, but our heritage and roots spans globally, which also helps us. So we know, how to relate to one another. I remember we had a very strong program with Nova Scotia, wherein we have quite a lot of relationship. And in fact, it's resulted into one very important project at the University of Sierra Leone, which had to do with the first project on solar energy development in Sierra Leone. So we had those kinds of things. And of course, I know that you must have been told stories about the Maroons, where you have the Maroon Church. It's also part of this history. So the point I'm making is that at a time like this, it's a time of coming together. It is a time of reflection. It's a time of being proud of who you are. And it's a time of being proud of telling your story. We in Sierra Leone have borne the brunt of a lot of things. We've had war, we've had Ebola crisis, we've had mudslides, and we have terrible challenges with regards to making sure that we build our country in the way in which it can be a place for everyone. So currently, the government is undertaking quite a number of programs. A number of programs within the new direction, which is the government's agenda. The government's agenda for ensuring that we move Sierra Leone to the right direction. So we have quite a lot of new things that are happening. And I must tell you something very interesting today, which makes this event historic. The bridge which we commissioned today, the bridge is called the Saint-Pierre Memorial Bridge. Saint-Pierre Memorial Bridge. Saint-Pierre is a very important figure when it comes to African American history and Sierra Leone. I am sure they must have told you about Saint-Pierre. And of course, I know a few weeks ago, there were events, I think, in Washington, celebrating 400 years of slavery. And of course, there is a Saint-Pierre program which myself and the First Lady were invited to in the US, but we could not make it. So the point is that we know that we have people that signify Sierra Leone and American history. That is why we have now started to rename some of our edifices, to rename some of our monuments, so that people learn the history. I hope before you leave, you can have a stroll to the bridge, do some photos because it's also an additional touristic attraction. Because when someone comes and then we say we are taking you to the St. Bepien Memorial Bridge, of course, there is a common bond and a common history between us when it comes to the story of St. Bepien. It was a very, very strong Africa. Now we have culture. Of course, you must have experienced what kind of culture we have in Sierra Leone through your visits to the different sites and then also to the monuments. We have various tribes. We have over 18 tribes. But what is interesting is that I am told your DNA calls for the south, which is Kakoa-Chikpo. That is the second city of Sierra Leone. And I know most people who come from that city are very smart people. I hope you are also very smart like them. Yeah. And it's not only the second city, it is a cultural city. You can see a mix of rural life and then a mix of western or urban life. So you see different sides of the story when you go to the south, when you go to Bo. You have a very, very nice route to visit. But you need to make sure you ensure that you are able to engage, of course. I know the chiefs are waiting for you. I know the traditional rulers are waiting for you. I know the communities are waiting for you. So let me conclude by saying that we very much appreciate that you're here. But in the next few weeks, we should be coming to the United States. We should be coming to the United States, and we should be going to New York and Washington on a tourism event.